talk about on tonight's show. This is episode 91. We've been almost doing this for 2 years now, I think. I have, at least.
Yeah.
And I think we had some pretty good numbers on that last show. On our YouTube channel, it's a 28-second video of a KTM adventure bike that has the Christini kit on it. It went over 1 million views last week, and we're up over 10. I think someplace we're up over 10,000 subscribers, which is pretty good, I think. So we're growing. You see, that's what happens. You try to quit, and then it grows. So I had to come back. And it wasn't even I was really gonna. Well, I wasn't really gonna totally quit, but I was pretty close to almost totally quitting. So this is now for fun. So you're gonna have to upload all this stuff. You got that, Logan? I'm negotiating getting you some money. Money coming in. Yeah. You got to talk to Trevor. You got to name your price with Trevor, and then the money starts flowing this direction, because it used to flow in here and then it'd go every place else, and I never got any, and a lot of other people didn't get that much because there wasn't that much. But now it's the other way. Now it's supposed to come and flow in this direction, then you get some, and then maybe I get some too. So that's good. Shout out to our sponsor, beer. That's what Kirk says after he says get the show going. Yeah, I think it's going to be a 2-beer show. Sound is good. The mic is good. I took a week off because I went out to King of the Motos. I did not race this year, and I just watched. I actually helped. I got out there, and I can't help myself, but Justin can always use, actually, at any of those events, you can always use a little bit of help, and so I helped him out a little bit. I didn't do much. I just made it worse.
Yeah.
I'm good at doing that. I can make anything worse. So kind of enjoyed myself out there at that event, and had a good time. So Logan, let's get right into the questions.
Questions?
Yeah. This show is brought to you by Jimmy Lewis Off-Road Training.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a motorcycle riding school. So if you want to be a better rider, you should come see me, or start looking at some of the stuff we're going to be doing online real soon. Even that YouTube channel, that Jimmy Lewis Off-Road YouTube channel, we're going to update some things. So I know Matt's working on it in the background. So what's our first question?
Hi, Jimmy. I signed up for this weekend's class, but I am not happy with my rear tire setup. Hoping to get it sorted out before the class. He has a 2018 EXCF 500, 120/118 Moto's Arena Gummy Hybrid with Michelin bib Mousse, 120/90/18 M18.
And he says,
rear tires feel unstable, unpredictable in the corners. Initiate the turn is fine, but then grip goes away as I maintain/tighten it more. On desert, small rocks. Also, when launching in a straight line, the back end doesn't track straight/wanders side to side. My buddy Jim Bartell from New York.
That's Tony, by the way.
One of your owls thought it felt loose too.
So he says he thinks the Mousse is too small and it's letting the tire wander over it, or is it just not a good tire for St. George Mesquite area desert trails? And he mentions that Jim runs the Kenda Equilibrium, and I've run Kenda Parkers and Moto's Tractionators ITs. So he has just not enough experience to know. So he says, Jimmy, do you have any preferences? Capability is more important than durability. I don't race, and I don't want the bike to be, and I don't race, and I want the bike to be predictable as much as I can given my limited capabilities. Well, the first thing is, this is Richard. You're coming to the school, so your abilities will get better. And so what you're describing is there's two really big things here. You're describing almost exactly what it feels like when you have a loose Mousse on your tire. So in other words, the Mousse is not putting the pressure on the tire, and the tire is actually like slipping around on the outside of the Mousse. So it will be squirmy, and it will be unpredictable, no matter what. And so that is a problem, because it's, instead of your tire's a 120 100, and you have a 120 90 Mousse, which is actually smaller. But the other thing about that is tire manufacturers measure their tires their own way. So some measure, a 120 90 is big on one and it's small on another. And so you if you're running Michelin tires, Michelin Mousse fit in them perfectly. If you're taking a Michelin tire and put it, in this instance, a Moto's or a Michelin Mousse, and put it in a Moto's tire, you don't know. Nitro Mousse, who does not make tires, they have a very specific fit chart, so you know which one goes in which tire, and you should use their recommendation. They've spent a lot of time putting this chart together, and it's very accurate. So it's something you have to play with. But I will tell you one thing that my experience with Moto's tires is, and I'm not going to say they're all good or they're all bad or anything. I have never, ever had two Moto's tires that were the same. And that's the one that, if it's the same tire, like if it's the Tractionator, I've had 3 different ones, and they're all a little bit different, whether it's rubber compound, whether the size is different, even though the number stamp on the side is the same. They're all of a sudden they change something on the exact same tire, and it changes. So those tires, for me, I can't tell you about them, because I've reviewed ones that I said were really good, and then I got another one and it was really bad. Same tire, same size, same everything. Very inconsistent. So I have a hard time telling you whether it's the tire or not the tire, because it could be the tire and it might not be the tire with that particular brand. Just my experience. So I do run Parkers, Kenda Parkers. I do run Kenda Equilibriums. Jim runs pretty much what I run. He's learned that he likes my setups. And so I can tell you that you would definitely be on a more consistent tire if you were running Kendas or Dunlops or Michelins or Bridgestones or Pirellis, because all those brands seem to be able to deliver the same tire multiple times, and I'm consistent with them and I know how they work. So I would say get the Mousse fitted in the tire properly to begin with, and then decide whether that tire works for you, whatever brand it is. So that's my suggestion, and hopefully it's not wobbling around like that at the school, because I'll probably put you on a Kenda tire. So, Michael Creddy?
Hi, DBT. I just read your extremely informative article with your 2017 250 FX with the Pro Circuit Complete T6 stainless system. I purchased this system for a 2021 YZ 250 FX and would like to know if it's possible to run your map you created for the system on the 4-axis smartphone tuner, or what would be the equivalent. See attached for reference. Thanks for in advanced.
And this is, okay, we already said his name, Michael. Mike. So he's looking at our 2017 test, and we have a picture of the old handheld Yamaha tuner, which is 3x3. The grid gives you 3 positions in 3 RPM, and then throttle position ranges in both ignition and then fuel mapping. So he wonders if that style of a map will work on the 4x4 tuner, and if there was a variant for it. And it was one that we recommended specifically for the pipe that we had put on the bike in our long-term test of that bike. And so the answer is yes, but since you have another grid, and here's the thing is, I think a lot of people just And that's okay. You know, just send me this map. Send me a map. It's a good map. But the beauty of the Yamaha tuner is that you can adjust the stuff so much. A lot of people don't want to do that. They just want the map. And the thing is you could kind of take that if whatever the way we described it, if that looks like, okay, we described the power character and the reason we run that map, you could take the thing and you could look at the RPM ranges, and instead of being 3, there's 4, and you could just kind of fill in the blanks, you know, because it is on the map that he took the picture of. It was kind of, we were a lot leaner on the fuel and we were a little bit hotter on the ignition, and it was kind of progressive. It was to kind of give the bike a little more snap on the bottom. So the lower numbers were bigger. They were like lean by 2, and then I think it was 3, and then 2, and then 1, kind of. And then on the ignition, the same thing. It was +1, +2, and then back to +1. So you could kind of do the same thing and just look at match the numbers sort of, and kind of fill in the grid. But here's the thing with that is like, that's what, so it's so easy to experiment and try, and it's so easy. It's what, you don't even have to plug the phone one in. You just send to the bike, and you know this because you play with it on yours. And just keep the RPM ranges, because you can adjust the RPM ranges on the new app, on the 4x4 one. You can actually have your throttle position at 5, 10, and 20, and then 60%, as opposed to 20, 40, 60, 80. So you can adjust the throttle position where it makes the changes. But the old one, you couldn't do that. It was basically first third, second third, last third, and so you just kind of guess in there and where you set your RPM ranges. And it's a little complicated, but if you spend the hour to learn that app, it's a tuning tool that's worth thousands and thousands of dollars, in my opinion, because you could spend a lot of time with the guy that knows how to grind cams, and a guy that can play with compression ratios and squish shapes inside the head and different weights of valves. And you can do all of this. You can get the same kind of feeling out of the bike. And sometimes I don't want to say that power tuner ever really like increases the power. It may shift it around a little bit, but it makes the bike, totally rideable. And actually, Trevor was out today riding the new Husky, the 2021.5 factory edition, that has KTM's version of this app, and he said he was really digging it. He liked it, and for the same reason that a lot of people just want a map send, he said this one's simple. Like, it doesn't. He said he didn't really tell me how advanced you could make it, but he said it has basically compression braking adjustment. You can give it more or less compression braking, and then you can give it more or less like throttle feeling. And it was just, they had some really simple things. So there's tools for everybody, and I would say play around with it. And the one thing that when I looked at this question that he asked is, he didn't tell me if he would have told me what he wanted his bike to do. Like, I would have to go back and read that story and see what we got the bike to do and why we picked that particular map. I can look at the map and I know how it affected the bike. I remember this. But it would have been easier for him to say, do you have a map that makes the bike do this? And don't just say, give me more power, because it doesn't do that. But it's like, I want this character. I want, more throttle response in the bottom, or I want it to rev a little bit longer on top. And then I know what you would do. And we have someplace on Dirt Bike Test, we have a fuel injection tuning story that just basically says, when you add fuel or take away fuel, it does this. And when you add ignition or take away ignition, it does that. So you learn a couple of these really simple steps. And I know we've talked about it in past shows, what those steps are. But you learn what you're looking for, and you try these things and try it a little bit more than you normally would. Not a small change, make a big change. Is it better or worse? And okay, that's better. Then you're going the right direction. Then you can play around with it. So that's part of kind of testing. And a lot of times when somebody says, "Hey, give me the Jimmy Lewis 5 map," it's like, "Well, why? what does that do?" And I've sent maps to people, and they like them. They plug them in, and they like them. And a lot of times I say, "Hey, tell me what you think of this map," because if they don't tell me what they want, I don't know what to give them. It's like, they just give me this map, and okay. So Yeah, hopefully, Mike, that works out for you. We gotta do a Honda read. Tell us about the 2021 Honda Sierra 450R, Logan.
The Honda's new 2021 Sierra 450R is designed to take you straight from the starting gate to Victory Circle. This awesome open-class motocrosser features an all-new chassis, a major engine overhaul, new suspension, and new bodywork. And you can forget about clutch fade, adjustment, or hand fatigue with the new hydraulic clutch system. Lighter than ever, the Sierra 450R explodes out of corners when it's time to increase your lead. So get down to your local dealer and check out the 2021 Honda Sierra 450R. Go to mx.honda.com to see our full lineup of competition bikes.
Hey, that's for competition closed course only.
Yes.
Yeah. Think Ken Roxon likes his?
Probably.
Seems like it. Yeah. I was one of the few journalists that liked that bike. Like everybody else complained about it. Said the suspension was too soft. Didn't work very well. So I don't know. I thought it was perfect. I thought it was a really good bike. But anyways, you can read all the other magazines that don't like it. Next question.
Mike Zeberke.
Zabinirk. Yeah, Zabinirk. That's not the guy who was telling us to get the show. No, that was Kirk Zerberging. Zerbrigan. Yeah, Zerbrigan. Okay. So what does Mike want to know? What does this Mike want to know?
Awesome for Logan to speak up, push another Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. You guys are doing great work. Stick with it. Speaking of picking up chicks with dirt bikes, have you ever tried the universal buddy pegs? They clip into OEM pegs. I was surprised how well they work for small sunset adventure, etc. Condoms not included.
You know what a condom is, Logan?
Yes.
Yeah, good. That's good. Yeah, so what he's talking about, those, the only reason we're doing the show tonight is not to talk about this, is because I asked Logan, I texted Logan today, said, hey, Logan, we doing the show tonight? He said, yes. I said, do you want to do the show tonight? And you said, yes. You said, sure.
I said, sure.
Sure. So we're here. So blame Logan.
Yeah.
And that was like signing the lease agreement to upload this tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes, that's good. That's the right answer.
Yeah, that was part of this fine print.
Part of the fine print, the deal. So he's talking about these things that are actually, I got them sent to me back when I was at Dirt Rider magazine. They're these pegs they're like these big giant pegs that clip onto your foot pegs. And they were made for like an emergency situation if you needed to ride somebody out. Like if somebody's bike broke or they really didn't recommend them for, double riding. But it's better than having your chick's legs dangle, behind you, because then she can control you. She can, your chick controls you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Especially if they're cheerleaders.
Yeah, like I'm not talking about like on the motorcycle. I'm talking about just life in general.
Oh, especially on the dirt bike. But
especially, no, if you get somebody on the back that's swinging their legs around, or if they hold you, like if they hang on your shoulders and stuff. Like when I have somebody riding the back, I always have them put their feet on my foot pegs, underneath the foot pegs, and I just tell them to put just their toes on. So I put my feet on top of them, and then I only let them hold on to my hips, only on the side. On me, we call those love handles. Mm-hmm. I say hang on to love handles. But that way they can't steer you very much, because if they can get a hold of your shoulders, or if they clamp onto you, like if you shouldn't do anything to where they have to clamp onto you.
Yeah.
Except I'll tell you, Heather can probably tell you. Ask Heather about going down steep downhills. Yeah, boobies on the back, if you know what I mean. So, but anyways, if they're not hanging on to you, then they can't steer, and then you shouldn't get out of control, and then they should feel comfortable and not knock you out of control. So thanks, Mike. I'm glad we're back too. I have a good time doing this thing. What does Justin want to know?
Jimmy and Logan, my 13-year-old is looking for the next step after his 2015 KX100. He's not a huge kid, 5'4", and 100 pounds, but he's been riding powered bikes since Jimmy recommended that we get him an O-set when he was barely 5. He skilled and he wanted to race after doing a road book rally in his first enduro last year. A larger tank and even a headlight would be great. What bikes should we be looking at? KTM 150, something else?
You answer that question. You were that kid 2 years ago, but you were a little. Were you that tall or?
I was a little smaller.
It's a little smaller. Okay.
Yes. KTM 150. He would definitely have to put one foot on the ground.
Right. But he's gonna. He's fine. He's gonna grow into it.
Yes.
You started growing at what about? When did you start growing? Like about a year. It was about a year ago.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah. You're gonna start growing, and I don't know that. The funny thing is, if he's starting to do road book rallies and stuff on a KX100, usually road book rallies are a little bit long. You could still, at that size, you can still ride the KX100 pretty good, and maybe it just doesn't have the equipment and stuff that you need to get the range and stuff. But I always was a big fan of staying down on the smaller bike longer as opposed to moving up. It's nice it's really nice if you can have both, so you can have the opportunity to kind of bounce back and forth, because sometimes getting on that big bike, the confidence is tough, and then you it's hard because the bike's riding you. You're not actually riding the bike.
Yes.
But I think definitely move up to a 125 or a 150. Don't be going 250F because I think, with the two-stroke, you have to still really concentrate on the power and learn to, keep using the clutch and shifting and doing stuff that'll just make you a better rider in a longer run. And at that weight, they have plenty of torque, so you're good. The good thing about the 150 is it's fuel injected. So that's pretty good. Okay. What's the next one?
House of Ruse. Let the woman speak.
Oh, he's talking about our Tenere video where I did it with my wife, and he's saying let the woman speak. She's my wife. She only should speak when spoken to, right?
Sure.
Yeah. You should run that one by your girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to see how it flies. It's good times. I'll have Heather chime in on that. Yeah, I cut her off a few times, but it was because in that video, and I've said this a bunch of times before, there's actually we did a whole show on that video where we just talked about, I got kind of a lot of crap about the same thing. She didn't feel like she spoke the moto language. And so she's like, yeah, I'll do it, but just kind of coach me along or help me, say the right thing. So I did. And I cut her off or didn't let her talk or spoke for her because I knew what she was thinking, because that's how we work.
Mm. John Scott, do you think they will make an R version
of the KTM 390 Adventure? I don't think so. I think that bike is kind of designed for a cost-conscious market, and so making an R1 would kind of defeat the purpose. They have their power parts catalog that you can make it into an R yourself, but I don't think they're going to make one. Nope.
Alex Thrift. Hey guys, I know this is a long shot, but I have a request. I am 45 and have a 2019 YZ450F that I can ride fast, but I just can't ride it fast very long, like I can my 300XCW TPI, which, thank you, BMW, BTW, as I brought it after seeing Jimmy's review on it. So I'm selling my 450 and looking at a new YZ250F. I fell in love with the smaller bore 4Ts, 4-stroke, and have some time on that bike, but I just rode a KTM 250 XCF, and it doesn't have the bottom end of the Yamaha. I was down at the Yamaha dealer, but just couldn't pull the trigger until I know that a 350 XCF isn't the better choice. This bike will be a faster XC style bike for the desert, etc. I know you guys are normally compare bikes of different classes, but with the 250 FX being the bottom end king and what is regarded as the best overall power band of that class. Can you guys do a comparison of it versus the 350 XCF? I get that the KTM is going to have a 13 horsepower advantage, but if I wanted the most horsepower, I'd be keeping the 450. Thank you, and keep up the good work, as always. Sincerely, Alex Swift.
So, Alex, you know what it's going to cost to get us to do the comparison you just think? I don't have to do the comparison because I've ridden all the bikes. So if you want to know what it's like to ride a Works Yamaha YZ250F, just ride a KTM 350. That's the kind of power and probably a little bit more that the factory bikes that you watch on TV are putting out. So the answer is, if you want, it's so awesome that we have so many choices, and the 350. You're exactly right. You know, talking about the KTM 250 XCF just doesn't have the beans that the Yamaha has on the bottom, and you really have to rev the KTM to kind of get it to go. And if I wasn't constrained by, you know, racing in a class that I had to have a 250, I would have a 350. It's that simple. The 350 is such a nice combination of lightweight and still having the torque, and then it doesn't have this crazy durability problem that, you know, when you get these 250s all wound up to make that kind of torque on the bottom, because that is expensive, and it cuts down on the lifespan because it requires compression and race gas and crazy cams and all that kind of stuff. So the KTM or any variant of the 350 is actually a really good choice. And you know, coming off the 300, it's kind of weight wise that the 300 2-stroke and the 350 4-strokes kind of feel sort of the same. They're pretty similar when you're riding them because power adds weight. You know, so even the difference in weight between a 250 and a 350 isn't that much, but it feels a little bit more on the, you know, while you're riding it because of the power. So, I think the 350 is the way to go. I mean, in all honesty, if you're not trying to race the 250 class. So, okay. What is Ariel Valdez?
What are the
Vasquez?
What are the sizes of the tires you changed?
And that's on the KTM 390. We did a whole wheel swap actually with some really nice W wheels. We went away from the mag wheel to a spokes wheels, and we actually put the same size, the stock size tires. We threw Kenda big blocks on it. I don't recall the size off the top of my head because there's so many different sizes, but they're the same size as the stock tires, just in a more aggressive knobby pattern, and still really happy with those. So, okay.
Tony Gross, as always, the best effing review. Great to see Heather.
See, he's got it figured out. It's good to see her, not to hear her. That's the on the tenor. Yeah. Oh wait. Yeah. All right. I mean, no, she's okay. Is she in the chat room? I'm gonna get beat up now. Jim Garbus.
I'm not a Facebook sort of person, so I wait for the Tech Talk Taco Tuesday to be on the YouTubes. I always come away with a little bit more information. Hope there is a way / profitable for you to continue in some form. Loved the digital magazine, have always appreciated your views and insights since the Moto magazine days. Hell, the only reason I know that Takamoto DDC Racing is from Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. When I bought climb gear, I told them it was because of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday.
Oh, you should have reached out to me for a climb discount code. So, Jim, send me an email. I'll get you a climb discount code just for saying that. Takamoto and DDC should be sponsoring the show more. Now I'll take your money. Actually, the first person that sends me money on what did the guy try to send it to me last time on?
Like through Facebook?
It was through Venmo or something like that. Before I knew what those things were, a guy actually really appreciated the show, and I said thanks, but no thanks. I wasn't doing it, but I don't know. We'll see how it works out. I've been because since I haven't been doing that much stuff, I've been kind of looking at other people that are doing stuff on all the different channels and stuff. And one of the things when I look at stuff that I'm interested in, I like. There's a lot of DJs I like, and these are the guys that do these, crazy live mixes of all different kinds of music. And then one of my favorites is this guy named DJ Z Trip, and he has a weekly, or not a weekly, it's a month. He does a monthly live show, and it ends up on YouTube. And I actually I tripped across it on Facebook. It just popped up, like this show pops up on some people's feeds on Facebook. And I mean, I'm familiar with them because a friend of mine gave me a bootleg, it was a bootleg CD of one of his shows a long time ago. And I mean, he mixes like Rush against, rap music and does Star Wars themed weird. It's all over the place, and it can be anything from jazz to reggae so it's kind of cool. And I saw him perform at a ramp jam for Tony Hawk, and he threw all these, like, he took the soundtrack from Bones Brigade and used a lot of that and mixed it up with modern stuff, and it was cool. And like this guy, I really enjoy watching what he does, and because he does it live, and he's the two turntables, and he's got the computer going, and he's not actually flipping vinyl on top of it because it's all digital now the way that they do it. But he's not just sticking a USB stick in there and pushing play and then putting his hands up in the air. It's not one of those guys, So I started, and then his shows started when the COVID thing happened. He couldn't go perform, so he started doing these shows on. He was doing them kind of in his house, but they were putting him out on these different platforms, and he ended up on a gaming platform called Twitch. Mm-hmm. And so there's all these different platforms now for ways to deliver this type of content, where you have a chat room and things, kind of like what we do with the Facebook thing. And I get it when people see this on YouTube and they're like, I don't do Facebook, and I try not to do Facebook. I try not to do hard. Hey, I posted 2 things on social media today. It was a big day. I don't know what happened. Actually, was it the same thing I posted? I can't remember. Oh, because I posted one for the show. So, but I'm just fascinated by all the ways that you can kind of share this digital platform and what they're doing to generate revenue, and because at that point, I'm sure he's sponsored by his, the company that makes his turntables and stuff, and his processing, things like that. But he sells a lot of merch. He has his hats and T-shirts and stuff. But the size of where we're at, and his streams are, like on Twitch, are doing like 5,000 followers. So it's enough to where, he can sell a hat or whatnot. And we're not there yet. And I really don't like having to package up 2 T-shirts a week and remember to, print the postage out. And that's why the store will be getting shut down real soon. The store's going to get paused real soon because Trevor or Scott can't figure out if they want it. They have to reorder all the shirts. We're out of all the popular sizes now. We just have kid shirts. You need to go get one. That's how I can pay you this show. You can take a T-shirt. But yeah, I've been kind of checking that stuff out and seeing if there's different ways to do this. But I actually enjoy watching someone that's good. It's like watching a professional athlete. When I watch Supercross and I analyze what the guys are doing and I really understand it. But I watch him work the turntables and stuff, and it's like, what is he doing? I literally want him to kind of explain what he's doing because he's doing all this crazy stuff. So it's probably people wonder what we're doing here. Like, we're not doing that much crazy stuff. But how do you know so much about dirt bikes? So somebody will probably post up the link to Z Trip in our thing. George will probably get it. He got the foot pegs. You see that? He already put up the rescue page. Powersports.com is where you go to see the rescue pegs. Thanks, George. That's good. George will be out here next week. We could have a really good show next week. Really, really good show next week.
Yeah.
There's going to be some people here. Really interesting. A lot of really cool. We could have a really good show next week. Just saying. So, just book it out. Tell the girlfriend no whatever you're gonna plan on doing that time. Next, is Heather in the room? Next question.
Paulo C. Hey Jimmy, I have that same 6-day Portugal. If you can teach me to ride it, I'll teach you some Portuguese. Lol, nice episode. Thumbs up.
I don't think I have enough brain cells to learn Portuguese. So, somebody had a Husaberg question. So Husaberg, we take those jump to the front of the line. The Husaberg question was, I'll kind of roll back here, and it was Kirk Zerbringen. I'll get an email tomorrow about how to pronounce his name. It'd be phonetically spelled. Say, thanks for taking the time to answer my question, but you butchered my name. What rear sag do you run on a Husaberg PDS for desert versus single track riding? I don't run any different sag between those two scenarios. I pretty much on those bikes I run it like right at 100, and the thing is mine have the rear gas tanks on it, and so a lot of times when they're full with that weight a little bit farther back, that's why I run it a little bit high. And then by the time it slowly bleeds off, I'm used to it being a little bit high, and the bike handles just fine. So I don't change it, but I'm pretty much at 100 and on. I think I'm running titanium springs in those things, which act a little bit different, and they don't mind the little extra preload as well. I think they're a little bit looser on the top. And well, you should know, you're the one that bought them. I wouldn't spend money on a titanium spring, but I tested them and I liked them. They're a little bit looser, and they also have a different rebound character also than a steel spring. So, okay, what's our next? Oh, you're working on the next question.
Yeah, not working.
It's not working. Those are some interesting languages, huh? What's the name? Exel Gorin official. Logan's busy doing his, making his translate stuff go. Hey, Climb just dropped their new 2021 Mojave and XC Light and Dakar gear. So if you're looking to look as good as I do when I ride, you should probably jump on their website and get it, because that stuff has been selling out pretty quick. And yeah, I can wear a lot of my old gear it wasn't getting worn out. I was getting worn out of it because I wore the new stuff and I liked the colorways a lot better. And so I'm like, man, when can I wear these? And so now I can wear it because it's released, and they have new goggles that are pretty awesome. I'm trying to remember the name of the goggle. It's not the Viper Pro. It's a different name, but they have a goggle with a magnetic lens now. It's pretty neat. It's something that looks, they have all their snow stuff, and I'm sure that in the snow market the magnetic lens goggles are pretty cool. And so this was pretty neat thing. I got to wear those for the photo shoots and stuff. And then I had to kind of put them on the shelf until now. So go get yourself some climb gear at climb.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you, just like Jim Garbus did. So next question.
Pacific Northwest. I put that Recluse Radial CX on my 450L. It's a must-have mod. Great video.
That's what we said. Yeah, it's amazing. Well, and Recluse, another backer of this this podcast. I think, especially on those Hondas, I don't really have a problem with the stock clutch until I ride another bike that has better clutch on it, because it's just okay, it's good. But those are, when I start thinking of the stuff I want to change on that bike, that's one of the first things that comes to my mind on a Honda 450X or a Honda 450L for sure. Just way better modulation and control. Okay.
Daybot, if you knew how to ride, you wouldn't even need the front wheel attached to the bike.
Oh, Daybot. He's talking about the Recluse video that has 1 million views, and that's what he came up with. In 28 seconds of video, he was telling me if I knew how to ride, I wouldn't need... I can wheelie until all the oil runs out of the crankcase. So, yeah, Daybot, can you do that? Let's see. Check your phone. I'm supposed to be getting a call here. Oh, here we go. I got a number. I want to call Chris Reel because I want to talk about some of the pending emissions regulations we got coming up. We got some other one? Keep going.
Brandon, please do a video on the best all-around dirt bike tire. I'm not too worried about longevity as long as I get good performance out of it. I'd say good 70% towards performance and 30% wear characteristics. Only dirt bikes don't need a dot.
Dear Brandon, please send us $32,000, and I will use that money to purchase all the tires for said test. It will cover 20% of my time to go do it, and I'll get you some free tires, Logan, with this deal. You got to ride them too. Because I could see that exhaustive level of testing would take probably 6 months, and then I will send you back the video that you are requesting. Or do you want me to just guess? I should just guess like all the other guys on the internet do. No, that would ruin my credibility. What do you think I should do, Logan?
Get the 32 grand.
32 grand in tires?
Yeah.
Okay. So Brandon, send it. Just send me an email. I'll tell you which bank account to drop it into. It'll be good. I'll get you the best tire test. I will tell you by the end of that, I will give you the answer. But if you just want my opinion, Kenda Parker DT. Let's see. Let me make sure. Let me do the 70% towards performance and 30% wear characteristics. Not too worried about longevity. What are you going to ride it on? I have a lot of questions here.
Yeah.
What kind of terrain are you going to ride it on? Because I just threw out the Kenda Parker DT because that's what I have on all of my bikes, except for, what was that? Did I drop that?
Yeah, it's the iPod.
Oh, that thing broke. Yeah, and the bell. My whole set's falling apart over here. I need to know if all around, I guess, that means like everything. It's crazy because I have the other half the time I run the Kenda Equilibrium, are the other ones I run. But Pirelli makes a really good what's their mid soft, trying to think what those, the Michelin Starcross 5 mediums are really good. The MX Extra is the Pirelli tire that's really good. I am not, me personally, I'm not a fan of the Dunlops. They just don't work for me, but they seem to work for lots of guys. The Bridgestone, the latest Bridgestones are really good. They haven't done anything to promote those tires, but I've ridden them on some new bikes. There's so many good tires. You'd probably be a lot cheaper for you to just buy a new tire every couple weeks. You go riding and figure out which one you like. Because for somebody to sit back here and tell you, oh, this is the best tire, that's ridiculous. Because for every time I say that I don't like a Dunlop, and that's just Jimmy, I know other people that say I don't like a Kenda, and I don't argue with them because they're different the way that they perform, and I turn at a turn angle that works better for me with almost every other tire but a Dunlop, and it's nothing wrong with them because they seem to sell a heck of a lot of tires and a lot of people really like them. So there's a lot of good stuff out there. Mostly, I really judge a tire based on braking performance. I put braking performance as my primary braking and then turning. And so, and that like traction a lot of time has to do with, if you like to spin a lot, then certain tires work better for you than a guy that likes to track. And that's what I like, to track as opposed to spin. So don't take my word for it. Search the internet. Just search YouTube. It'll save you a lot of money. Actually, you get a YouTube premium subscription for what, $20 a month, something like that, and then they'll just feed it to you all day long. What does Tyrone want to know? Tyrone
is my name.
Tyrone is my name.
It's sad to see you maybe CX the show. I've learned a lot and spent a lot of money because of these hangouts.
Oh, what does CX mean? I need to learn something. CX, clip, cut, S-can? Who knows? Okay. So, what are we on next? John Fisher?
Yeah.
Okay.
Personally, I think he is doing a great job, and recently contacted him about some boots, and he was very helpful. I listened to all of the content on the podcast during the day, so although I didn't show up on the Facebook feed, I'm still listening to the shows. And I agree with his position on sponsors, that if he's contacted them and they don't want to pay anything to be on his show, then he gets amnesia?
Amnesia.
Because people differently listen to what he says.
Yeah. So, you know who he's talking about when he says he? Me.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a show where I talk about myself. Yeah, that was like that amnesia thing. I do that. That's a I'm glad somebody noticed that. I was advised not to do that by many people, but I like to do things my own way sometimes. And it just kind of proves a point. And then, the people that know, and then the people that don't, they wonder. And then I get an email and they want to know what it is. And it said, man, I wish I could remember. And because, people do trust what we say here, because I try to be as honest as I possibly can. I mean, look what I just did to my tire helper. Kenda, I said there's better tires than, I said I don't just recommend only them. I'd say there's lots of different ones. I don't say go grab this one, but if you're supporting, and Kenda does support my schools, my off-road schools, they help us out quite a bit because we have a lot of rental bikes and I burn through a lot of tires. So, but I never get to use the new ones. I'm always putting them on the rental bikes, and I get like second-hand ones. Need to change that. Okay. Michael D.
Look, Jimmy, many of us checked out of Facebook. I've looked on YouTube for a live stream, but nothing. No blame, but I'm looking and can't find your stuff on the days you broadcast. I don't tweet or anything else that is censoring content. I don't know if there's a good answer as far as the digital magazine. You haven't publicized it enough for us to find it. I would go there if I knew an easier way to get it.
Can I come over to your house? I'll bring it. You didn't put your address in here, so I can't do that. Okay, keep going.
I still don't know how to find it. Jimmy, your efforts are needed. I guess the marketing part of it is toughest for you. No blame.
I know. Let me take over your computer. Like, we do that thing where I get in, like the hackers do. We share the computer screen. I go into your computer and I will type in the web address where you can get the digital magazine, while my cohort, that's you, you go in the background and reach around the back and get the banking info. Yeah, just get the banking info, and then we make a large deposit into his account, but it's actually a fake screen that looks like his bank account, but and then you get him to send you a check back. It's the best way to monetize this whole thing.
Just trying to express one viewer's frustration to trying to find the best information on dirt bikes on the web. Good luck, Jimmy, and regardless of what happens, you are loved and what you do is appreciated.
Oh, that's nice. I wish I wouldn't have been mean and tried to hack his computer now. No, I if you're frustrated, you thought you're frustrated. I was frustrated. I still am frustrated, but I don't care. As long as I'm having fun doing this, I'll do it. And then Logan probably needs money, and he's got to talk to Trevor about how to get money, and it's somebody else's problem now. That is a nice shirt you got on. Mm-hmm. That's a sweet shirt. I don't even have one of those. He's wearing a Climb shirt. If you're just listening, that's why I said that. Hey, what's our other sponsor?
Maybe KTM.
No, it's KTM.
Yeah,
they're back.
They're back?
Yeah, they're back. Yeah, so you can read that.
Oh.
You probably have that memorized, don't you? Didn't you have it memorized when we switched it on you last time?
Yeah, I had it memorized for a half of the show.
Half of the show.
Yeah.
And then we said we're doing Honda reads now.
No. Then you said, Logan, go make your own.
Okay. Powered by a distinct ready-to-race mentality, KTM is the
world's leading high-performance street and off-road motorcycle manufacturer.
With North America headquarters based in
Marietta, California.
Over the years, KTM has built a reputation as a fierce competitor on
the racetracks around the world.
And the brand's
remarkable global success is reflected in every move it makes and every product it develops.
Haven't done that for like 2 months, and you almost nailed it.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah. So that school brain's coming back in.
Yeah.
A little bit. Hey, Dimitri Azello. Dimitri Azazello wants to know, how do you recommend one decide if the stock suspension is good enough or it needs a revalve? I'm about to take. Oh, every suspension needs a revalve. Don't you read the internet? In fact, no, don't believe that. I'm about to take possession of a Beta 200 factory with Kayaba forks. After riding on the same suspension for the last 7 years that was revalved for me, I'm not so confident I can evaluate the new stuff very well since I'm so used to what I got. Thanks for the show. Keep it going. I love it. Well, since you said those nice things, I'm going to tell you that, hey, when you hop on that bike, the bike will tell you whether the suspension is whether you like it or not, and if there's something different. So the first thing that you want to do is, if it's a new bike or if it's new to you, ride it for a little while. Just ride it the way it is, and if it's brand new, break it in. Make sure it's broken in. And while you're doing the break in, start saying, hey, you check your ride height, make sure your ride height's set, and then go, okay, is it too stiff, too soft? Give yourself some cues on like what do you want to change, and then play with the clickers. Don't be afraid to go full stiff on the fork and see what it does, and back it all the way off and see what it does. And this is how I learned how to do suspension on my 1986 YZ125. I tried the full range of clickers and felt what it did, and then I moved them around, and I wrote down where it started at, and I went all stiff and then all soft, and rebound, compression individually, changed each one individually, and I felt what it felt like it did. So don't be afraid to do some of this stuff, and if there's characteristics that your new bike has or doesn't have compared to your old bike, see if you can make those kind of changes with the clickers. And the good thing about that is, so when you put 10 hours on your bike or 5 hours, whatever, 10, 15 hours, at that point, it's time to get the suspension serviced if it's brand new. Or if it's new to you, you don't know how long it's been since the other guy did it. Have your suspension in, send it in service, but have it at its best setting you can get it. You have it adjusted to your best setting for what it is. Don't get it revalved yet. Just have it serviced. Because a lot of times that does make a difference in how the bike works. Make sure the oil heights are proper in the forks. Make sure everything in the shock is clean. Because sometimes a little bit of debris gets stuck in the valving or stuff like this. Not as big of a problem as it was in the old days, but it still does happen. Get it serviced, ride it again and play around with it. And at that point you can have a discussion with your tuner, the guy who does the suspension. Or if you're doing it yourself, there's ways you can learn what you can change. But I would, especially the shock, send it to, if you're getting valving done, send it to somebody that knows what they're doing, because it'll save you a lot of teardowns of suspension. Then you can say, hey, this is where it's at. This is where I'm set at. Do you think there's a way to go from here? Or, what can we change? Or is this a known, thing? Because a lot of times people just send brand new suspension. The guy's like, well, what do I do with it now? If I were the suspension guy, I would change the fluid and put stickers on it and send it back. Oh, yeah, I set it up just for you. Let me know. It's free revalve when you're... It's a free revalve when you have it in for the next service. So I think, Dimitri, I think, like I said, just ride it. And the fact that it was set up for you doesn't necessarily mean it was set up for you. They just put a setting in it. And it may be based off of what somebody else, told them, and maybe not you. And so that's what I would do. I wouldn't stress on it. Stock stuff is really, really good. And somebody says Z-Trip is awesome. That's good. Okay. Curly Stoker says, my 16-year-old daughter is listening to this with me. She is clearly loving the parts about women need to be seen, not heard. They need to learn it. Oh, yeah. Did you let her out of the restraints after she agreed with our opinions here? I mean, I'm not sure how you... yeah. No, I did not. Let's see. What else we got? You got another question on the thing, or we run through the questions on those? We're out on those ones. George did throw up the DJ Z-Trip thing up there. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Rusty, you could farm out the merch logistics for a per item fee. Yeah, that would require... Logan, you want to manage that?
I don't even know what he's talking about.
That's when we start selling hats and T-shirts and stuff. That's the merch.
Yeah.
That's all the stuff. Like, see, if you were a DJ, you would have your super hot girlfriend in the back, like setting up a table with your little cassettes and some hats and T-shirts. You'd be selling them at the show. But since you use the internet, that's how it works. Let's see. Kirk Zerbergen says, have you drilled out the 2mm hole in the butterfly valve on the FI Kian? It smooths out throttle response and flame out. On what bike? Oh, on my Husabergs? No. I didn't do that. That thing makes so much power. Like, it doesn't need any holes drilled in it anymore. Let's see. Wait a minute. Any plans to get Shorty and Braybeck back in to debrief the Dakar race? That could happen next week. You never know. Brian Down says the Parker DT is now my go-to tire. Hopefully because I told him about it and he just blindly trusted me. Jason Padel tells me CX means cancel. Now we know. Thank you, Jason. I like to learn something every day. Craig Albert says cancel. CX means radius clutch. In Recluse World, yes, Gregory, that is the truth. And then San Felipe Bob is, as usual, dishing out advice. And Craig Alberts is giving relationship advice. He says, treat Heather better for less frustration. It's like letting the wolf out of the cage. I could pay for it later. I'm going to pay for it now. So, Let's see. Babes in the Dirt. Where's Babes in the Dirt? San Felipe Bob. I'm not sure what that is. Let's see. I went to the tuner 3 times. So Dimitri says, I went to the tuner 3 times until they got it to my liking. So no, it was really for me. Okay, so that's good. And that happens a lot of times, that you have to have your attempting to reconnect. Uh-oh, that's bad. Oh, we're still recording here. Let's see. Lost internet connection. How can we do this? We're gonna check. We're gonna check on our things here. I should have noted. Yeah, we did freeze up here.
Because I lost internet too, and I'm not on your internet.
Oh, we just popped back, I think. Oh boy, yeah. It's that one's done doing what it's doing.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
Area 51 stuff going on there.
Oh yeah.
I lost internet. I'm
Yeah, my we've been having spotty connection out here lately. My thing has been kind of shutting down on me. So I think we're back. I'm going to go ahead and try to give Chris Reel a call, because the one thing I really wanted to talk about on the show tonight was the new, basically what California Air Resources Board is doing to on-road motorcycles. So this affects dual sport bikes in our world. And let me see if I can kind of pinch through here and give him a call, because this is going to affect all of us. And it's funny because Chris sent me this big PowerPoint presentation, and see if he shows up. He's on speaker. I got to turn this thing on, see if this thing comes in. I think we're talking to you. Chris, can you hear us on the phone now?
Yes, I can. How are you, Jimmy?
Pretty good. So, and you guys can hear him now.
I can finally hear, yeah.
Yeah, I made a modification. So, everybody, this is Chris Reel. He is a friend of the show, and he works for DPS Technical Services. And you want to tell everybody what you do, Chris?
Yes, well, we do a variety of things. We're a technical service provider within the Powersports community and the specialty automotive. So basically, I do testing and evaluate data, and try to help products go forward for our industry. And we work also in the environmental protection side. So I am the noise and spark arrestor person. And that's pretty much what we do. We also do some consulting in the petrochemical fuels side of the world, and help get new products through the regulatory agencies like EPA, the California Air Resources Board, and the U.S. Forest Service. So that's what I do, and I ride motorcycles once in a while too.
Right. And so you sent me the presentation on what CARB is planning and doing, and basically, from what I gathered, they are trying to, with the help of the manufacturers, and in discussion at least with the manufacturers, they're trying to bring I'll say the crazy CARB guidelines more in line with what the Euro 5 standard is, and I guess that's the crazy Euro 5 standard. The reduction in hydrocarbons and all that stuff is they're really working on that.
Yes, that's a true statement, and they have been working on cleaning up the air and pushing technology forward by regulatory actions since their inception. So it's really nothing new, but every few years we have hurdles that we have to get over, and then people will have different ideas on what they would like to achieve by a prescribed date. And so there are changes brewing, and we talked about them in one of the other shows back a year ago, and so we're at a phase point where some regulations are coming forward, some proposals are coming forward, and it's going to have an impact, and we're going to get through it.
So the biggest thing is they're really trying to reduce the evaporative side. They targeted that as as a big area to target, which basically means when your bike is running or not running, it can't put fumes or anything out into the atmosphere, whether it comes out of the crankcase, out of the gas tank vent line, or out of the tailpipe.
True, and if you kind of look at a vehicle as a source, and you start looking at hydrocarbons escaping, it kind of doesn't matter, to the environment which end of the motorcycle it comes out of. Either it comes out of the back end as hydrocarbons, or it comes out of the gas vents or the fuel lines, or spills on the ground through the carburetor vents as hydrocarbons. Ultimately it gets into the atmosphere and has an effect, and so the goal is to minimize the effect by controlling the source, no matter what that is.
Right, and we can think what you want, and you can wave your arms up in the air and yell and scream and complain. This is coming because it's going to be regulated, and there's really no two ways around this.
True, and it has been regulated, for 30 years. It's just getting down to the brass tacks of tightening up the regulation, and technology is being adapted to our motorcycles that we love, and at first we think it's a bad idea, and then after we ride it a little bit and we get used to it and it improves a bit, we say, well, it's kind of a good idea. So I remain optimistic, but I also am a realist, because change is hard and sometimes it's painful.
Yeah, and when I was looking at this, and you made some really good points in kind of your brief, is that the things like larger gas tanks require larger charcoal canisters, and so you can see and a lot of times you go, why do they put such small fuel tanks on these bikes? And there's reasons for it that are maybe just beyond, like, well, most people don't need them. So, there's and you pointed out also that there's going to be some increased costs with this, because the not only are they talking about reducing the emissions, they're also talking about increasing the durability, the length of durability where these vehicles have to be tested at. So instead of I don't remember the specific numbers, instead of being like a 15,000 kilometer test, it now is a 35 or a 50,000 kilometer test.
Yes, and so all of these things have costs, and emission systems durability is it's a mandate, and the manufacturers, if they don't achieve the durability, then they have to fix it for free and pay a big stomping fine. And so to over-engineer, fail safes into it, things get a little heavier, they get a little bit more, of course they get more durable, and it takes a little longer in the qualification process on the internal testing, and then it winds up costing more. And so there are going to be costs that are affiliated with the technology, and even the regulatory fees are scheduled to really increase, whether it be the certification fees or the penalties for non-compliance or non-durability. So all of those things really have an identifiable criteria, and some of it's a little bit frightening for the manufacturers. So they have to be cautious.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I saw some of the things about the fines and stuff, and I think on the manufacturer side, at least they're smart trying to make the tests very similar to the Euro 5 test, because they're already doing that, and these are so they're trying to make it so that there's a single test as opposed to having a special one just to get into the United States or just to get into California, and I think that might in some ways make it a little bit easier for them, and at least there's some forward thinking on that.
Well, there is forward thinking, but the thing, and we call that global harmonization. the thing that we have to keep in mind is if it's true global harmonization, our stuff matches their stuff and their stuff matches our stuff and we can all get along. That's good on paper, but then sometimes a regulatory agency will say, but we want another scoop on top of that and we want it done this way, and we're not necessarily going to accept that. Well, then it truly isn't a harmonized product. It becomes another level of testing and qualification and stuff. So if it was all truly harmonized, I think we could all get along to a point.
But it's never going to be that way. especially with California, because it's funny because even you said that, like, California is like kind of steering the ship and they're expecting the EPA, the federal agency, to fall in line, and which is like the tail wagging the dog.
Well, yeah, and EPA, California's a very different country, and I said that on purpose. It's a different country, and so what works for California doesn't necessarily work for Kansas, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So we have to. So we have to take a look at EPA's perspective. They're going, well, wait a minute, that doesn't work immediately for everybody. And so we get some, I call it regulatory disconnect. And so it does take some time, but ultimately these things do move the bar up, and things do get better.
Yeah, there's always like the growing pains, and I saw this, when they started trying to make lightweight competition style dual sport bikes in the beginning. They were especially with carburetors, they were horrible, and you almost couldn't ride them stock. And now you can take them, and for sure now a regulated, homologated 450 runs maybe as good as a 350. And stuff like that. So there's always going to be ways around that, and we all know that. Although it seems like they're really starting to tighten down on that. There was a lot of documentation in there explaining how they were going to make it, quote, tamper-proof. They wanted to eliminate the ability for the end user to modify stuff. So so what I want to roll it back to is, like, how is this going to affect our dirt bikes, our dual sport bikes? Specifically, they're the one thing that was noted in there is they were saying they were making a lot of changes because of the governor's new all electric vehicles by 2035. Your governor's mandate that everything was going to be electric by 2035.
Yeah, and dual sport bikes are going to evolve. They're going to have more electronic and emission control components because they're really a street bike. They're an on-highway motorcycle.
Yep.
Yes, we ride them off of paved surfaces, and sometimes we strip the components off to go race them. But in reality, the dual sport bike is an on-highway motorcycle, and so it has some emission requirements. It has some durability requirements. It has some sound requirements, and it has some brake requirements, and it has a bunch of things that go with it. And they have gotten a lot better. But they're going to change a little bit. They're going to evolve, and so the evolution is going to make the bikes. Initially they'll get a little bit slower, or a little bit heavier, or a little bit harder to tune the way you want to tune them. But they're going to also get more durable, and and maybe they'll have a, I kind of expect them to have a, the engine family is going to have a longer lifespan, so things won't change quite so rapidly with the engine itself, but maybe some of the componentry, the controllers will evolve, and we'll get our fuel economy back, and we'll start inching up on our power density, our horsepower a little bit, and
because they also mentioned that they were expecting some changes of the fuel, correct?
Oh yeah, fuel is going to, for sure. Fuel is going to continue to evolve, and we're going to see more of the alcohols, and in reality, some of the smarter fuel injection systems kind of tolerate that a little bit better, and so I can't say it's all a bad thing, but we're going to see different fuels become more mainstream, and we're also going to see maybe some fuel interchangeability at some point with our vehicles. So
yeah, and then there's always electrics coming. And how that, same thing. It's like as batteries change, as batteries get better, the like you say, the power density, what we expect and what we can get, and that's all evolving. So I think we're, you always sit there and when somebody says something's going to change and you hear about regulation, you just go doomsday. Oh, this is the end of it. I got to buy my 2-stroke now, and so a lot of this stuff. If you're really worried about it, buy it and put it in packaging paper. Hopefully they won't regulate your ability to ride something you already own. But look at how good the bikes we're buying now are, and they're frankly they're amazing, and with all the stuff that everybody said was going to wreck them.
Right, and I always say, it's like I thought my 1972 Bull Taco was the king of the pile. And then the 74 Elsinore came out, and I was on the bottom of the pile in 2 years.
Yeah.
So, evolution is a good thing, but it is a little bit painful at times. But I remain optimistic because look at the bikes just 10 years ago, the strides, how much better they've become.
I'm doing math in my head right now because I'm going, okay, I did like 2000. When did the KTM go for 2008 was just a pinnacle year because what was introduced that year, Logan? 2008. What came out that year?
Electric Start?
No, the Husaberg 570, bro. Yeah. Yeah, that was the first fuel injected quote KTM. So, and I'm still riding one of those things.
Yes.
See, that was the pinnacle moment is when I got my Husaberg, Chris. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but I really like that bike.
I think so. I think I've even ridden your bike, but we won't even go there.
Yeah, I let people try it because you got to know. But I was really happy with it until I had to work on it one time, and then it's a love-hate relationship. But I don't work on them much anymore. I just ride them. I just take them out on special occasions when things are all good. So, hey, Logan, did you come out in 2008?
3 years before.
3 years before that, yeah. So you're a 2005 model.
Yeah.
Right.
Carbureted. Didn't come with the fuel injection.
Yeah, didn't come with fuel injection. Yeah. Yeah, he comes with disc brakes, a single shock. You don't know what a twin shocker is. That's ancient history. So, hey, Chris, thanks for kind of keeping me in the pipe on this stuff and know what's up. So how long are we going to be able to buy gas burning dirt bikes for?
Well, you'll probably be able to buy the bikes somehow, some way. But part of some of these executive orders, are going to reduce the availability or more probably increase the costing of your fuel. So yeah, you can buy gas for you can buy your dirt bike. You can smuggle it in from a third world country and go out to Pahrump. But if if the refineries get run out of places, gas may be $10 a gallon, and so you might think twice about wanting to have a gas powered thing that's your main squeeze.
Right.
But how look at how fast some of the technology has come on the electrics, and they're not bad, and they're getting better rapidly. We have some challenges, and with technology comes challenges. So I'll say I'll be riding gas-powered vehicles for a while, but I certainly enjoy riding some of the electric stuff. And at some point in time, that maybe that technology might catch up to my expectation or our expectations of what we want to do with it.
Yeah.
I look at it and I go, well, there's places for 1290 KTMs and 300 KTMs and 450L Hondas. And not everybody's idea of a perfect bike is the same bike.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, the majority of people don't outride the range of a current battery in electric stuff. I mean, I witness how much they go and they ride. I mean, they talk like they're burning off tanks of fuel, but you see them take off, and a quarter tank later they're back, and that's it. And it's like, you could have done that on you could have done that electric, but at the same time, I mean, for me, it's not there yet. But I have ridden some electric bikes that are frankly pretty amazing. I mean, that Alto is pretty neat, and there's some some stuff I'm sure coming down the pipe, and it's game on. Like I said, I'm not afraid of it, and if it I'm sure whatever I have in my stockpile will last me until the next good things comes out, and then I'll just move on. So.
Well, yeah, and I can see a time when me riding my short little loop just to have some fun. I can. I tested a bike not too long ago that I could actually play for 40 miles on single track and be pretty happy with, and it made no sound.
Yeah.
Now it wouldn't replace every bike in my fleet, but for that Saturday morning quick little ride, maybe. And it has no maintenance, so there's some upside there, but we'll have to wait on technology because fuel, gasoline, hydrocarbons. I mean, they've had a couple hundred years to fine tune that, and it's right now it's the incumbent, trusted, reliable, high-density power source that's pretty affordable on the overall.
Yeah,
that's come along, and if it does, I'll try it.
Yeah, and that's what Justin, our chat room, says. He says, alternate fuel injectors are fun and all, but at the end of the day, for better or for worse, the energy density of gasoline is very hard to beat.
Well, it is. I mean, anytime you can set fire to something and have it explode, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, yes, the stuff that I sent you and the stuff that's coming and what you're going to see in the media in the next, in the coming months and years.
Panic.
It is going to be a little
Panic?
bit frightening.
Yeah.
But you have
cover
to,
lines.
You have to take a breath and say, wait a minute. There's a lot of people working on a lot of things, and things are. From a power and durability standpoint, they're getting a little better.
Yeah.
And so I'll give the engineers and the development team, I'll give them a challenge and hope that they pop out something that we can all really enjoy.
Yeah, I'm there with you. So cool. Well, right on, Chris. Again, thanks for taking the time, and we'll keep in touch. So when all this stuff comes out, we can blame you, right?
You can blame
Logan.
me, but I told you, change is coming. Get used to it.
Oh wait, you warned us. So we should thank you for warning us. We're going on the Craigslist, and we're buying all the 2-strokes tomorrow, Logan.
Yep.
They're going to be worth lots of money, and then we're going to buy tanker trucks full of fuel. So okay, Chris, good to talk to you, and we'll see you in the near future.
Okay, Jimmy. Take
Cheers.
care.
See
buddy.
ya.
Bye.
Okay, everybody, that was Chris Reel, and he keeps me pointed in the right direction when it comes to oil. That's why I like to have oil in my motorcycle. I sent him a picture of some old filter oil that he formulated up that somehow ended up in my possession that was probably 15 years old, and it was the consistency of like Jello that actually kind of ran like real slow because all the stuff that helps it transfer, basically the alcohol in it evaporated off right through the container. And I sent him a picture of like this blob going into a filter. I'm like, is this safe? And he gave me a very proper answer that was well explained, and it was like, well, if you're willing to do that, I'm like, no, it's kind of a joke, but yeah, it was some, like I said, I don't know where I get some of this stuff. So he was one of my original oil sponsors at Duralube back when I was racing KTMs. We talked about that on one of the episodes quite a while back. But anyways, Logan, what else do you got? You got anything else for the show?
Not really.
Someone's bringing out a Suron out here. You know what those are? There's somebody posted a picture of it. I don't think it's a 72 volt Suron, but somebody's bringing out one of those electric bikes to help me. They want me to assemble it for them to make sure it's all good. So we might have it at the school this weekend. So if you want to be a better rider by the end of this weekend, you can. I think there's 2 spots open in our school this weekend. It's the best modification you can do for your bike is to put a better rider on it, is what I always say. So just hit me up at jimmy@jimmylewisoffroad.com, and I can take care of you there. And Heather will be there, and I'll let her talk during almost the whole class. She'll probably run the damn thing. I'll just do monkey tricks like I always do. Yep. Hey, pass me over that other sheet over there. I want to run off some of our other amazing sponsors.
Oh, that one.
This one here. Some other companies I'd like to thank that have helped us. Kreft suspension, by the way. Speaking of suspension and revalves, I got my Kreft suspension back, and I threw it on. I had them do it. It was off my KTM 500, but I was riding the 350, and that's what I had it. So I threw it on my 350 because they're the same chassis, all the same, and rode it around. I can't really tell you about it just yet because I haven't had a ton of time. I went and did kind of smashed across hoops and then did extreme enduros. So a little bit of everything. So I got to start playing because they have a lot of different adjustments on it, and I will let you know when I get some more time on that. Nitro Mousse, New Tech, has been helping us out. We also are expecting some cool stuff coming in from Yamaha pretty soon. Again, thanks to Honda, Beta, and KTM. They are still liking what we're going to be doing with Dirt Bike Test. I'm just going to be doing a little bit less because I can't shoot photos of myself when I ride. So you're going to have to shoot photos of me.
Okay.
Or I can shoot photos of you.
Okay.
But we got to get you some boots. What size are you? Don't know what size your boots are. You just borrow your dad's or what?
Not yet.
Yeah, Logan needs a set of gear. So if you're a gear company and you want to get photos on Dirt Bike Test, send Logan gear. He doesn't know what his sizes are, but that's up to you to guess. That's the way these kids are. You offer them free stuff, and they're like, I don't know. Where do we send it? I don't know. Like, what size? I don't know. Yeah. So just like the guy who wanted me to do all that testing for him, it's like, for what? CD and Moto Nation, CD boots and VMAR helmets. They've helped me forever, and they're doing stuff. Double take mirrors if you need a mirror for your dual sport bike. That's way better than those junk stock ones that come on there. Talk about junk on a motorcycle. Mirrors. So Double Take makes some really cool ones. Scott's Performance. I've got some shark fins coming for a couple of my bikes. So they make some really nice shark fins. Of course, we talked about Kenda. Black Dog Cycle Works. I am getting close to getting that KTM 390 project bike to step 2, what I'll call level 2. I got some foot pegs that are flat. Oh, you'd like this bike now. And then we're going to put a bomb-proof skid plate on it, so I'll let you ride that thing home, and you won't punch holes in the skid plate anymore. Yep. And you can pick up chicks on it, because you know what? It's got buddy pegs.
Yep.
Yeah. So your dad's like, you can take your chick on an adventure ride. Baja Designs, makers of some of the best aftermarket lights in the business. Trail Tech, they make the Voyager Pro. They make awesome kickstands. And Kelly puts up lots of really cool photos up where he's out riding on the internet, and he makes me mad because I wish I was riding there too. Rottweiler Performance, they make stuff for KTMs. And don't worry, they'll probably start making UTV stuff because Chris started asking UTV questions last time I was with them. So Scott Goggles, they make good goggles too. In fact, I've been wearing those quite a bit lately. And they have some really high-tech light transitioning lenses, and they have an enduro goggle that is like one of the best snow fog goggles I've used. LA Sleeve, if you need to have your cylinder re-sleeved, and I might be talking to them soon because I have some issues on some stuff. Muck Off, you know what they make?
Cleaning products.
That's right. And so I got their pressure washer. They make a pressure washer. And I got their pressure washer, and it came with some products and stuff. And I said, I don't really use that stuff that much. I said, hey, I'm going to try this stuff out. I was really blown away by how it actually made some of my unshiny bikes look shiny. And I know I'm the only person in this room that washes my bike as much as
I'll use Muck Off rather than a pressure washer most of the time.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, endorsed by Logan. So, if you say more nice things about it, maybe they'll send you some care packages, then you just talk about them more. You come in with a Muck Off t-shirt, well, no, you got it hooked up. Thanks to Berm Cannon, thanks to We Went Fast for always looking out for us. And, so what do you want to read, Honda ad or KTM ad? I'll read the Honda one, you do the KTM one.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to get a new one of these. Actually, it's hard for them to make these. Honda's new 2021 CRF 450R is designed to take you straight from the starting gate to victory, just like Ken Roxon, 3 times in Indianapolis. Yeah, this awesome open-class motocrosser features an all-new chassis, a major engine overhaul, new suspension, and new bodywork. And you can forget about clutch fade, adjustment, or hand fatigue with the new hydraulic clutch system. Lighter than ever, the CRF 450R explodes out of corners when it's time to increase your lead. Just like Ken Roxon.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm stoked to see Ken Roxon do good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that guy, for coming back and doing what he's doing, and he had a rough start. I mean, he had some penalties and all kinds of goofy stuff, but good on him. So get down to your local Honda dealer and check out the 2021 CRF 450R. Go to mx.honda.com to see our full lineup of competition bikes, and it is for closed course competition only. If you want to know what I think about it, go listen to the podcast we did of that bike, because we did it the day after we rode it, and I didn't complain about the suspension being too soft or the bike not handling, or I didn't even question the fact that the racers may not do good when the bike comes out because they're going to have a whole year of troubleshooting. So just saying. And I didn't ride it with 40 pounds of air in the back tire like some other journalists probably did. But who knows? Okay, your turn. KTM.
Powered by a distinct ready-to-race mentality, KTM is the world's leading high-performance street and off-road motorcycle manufacturer. With North American headquarters based in Murrieta, California, over the years, KTM has built a reputation as a fierce competitor on the racetracks around the world. With their brand's remarkable global success is reflected in every product it develops and every move it makes.
What do you ride, Logan?
KTM.
Okay. Which bike?
KTM 125 SX.
Right on. Is my Yamaha better than your KTM?
The rider is.
Oh, wow. That was nice. Trying to keep your job here, huh? Okay. Well, hey, thanks everybody for listening in. Again, thanks to Recluse. You'll get to listen to a little Recluse read at the end of this if you're listening to this podcast. Hey, share this podcast or Facebook video, YouTube thing with your friends so more people see it. And if you're going on Amazon, if you go through Dirt Bike Test, go to the Fresh Dirt section, click on the Amazon link at the bottom, and you can buy stuff there, and we can get a small chunk of that. That's what's going to help keep the lights on, the bandwidth, in other words, on the website from now on. And you can't buy any more T-shirts. Now they're collector's items. So you just have to send me an email and bribe me, and then I'll make Logan send it to you. And that's about it. Other than that, I'm going to go get beat up by my wife and go dirt bike riding. So with that, thanks everybody for joining in, and we will see you out on the trail. Cheers.